So I have a file here and I have multiple components that I've drawn. So remember I said when we make our things, we want to make sure that each thing is a component. Because when we make a drawing, we can only make drawings of components. If it's a body, then it's going to be whatever it is. We can't turn things on and off separately. And so I've got a couple things here that we're going to draw today. So I can just turn these on here. I could right click on an item, make a drawing of just that one component. So when I tell that, so I'm actually going to kind of come up and say, what do I want? And I can say visible only, or I want to select something, pick a couple things, or I can just say everything in the full assembly. It'll pick every component there and make the drawing of those things. And so I have my template right now. And so you can have multiple templates set up for different things. So like I have a template right here that is just for components. It'll make one drawing for each of these components. I can also have them set up where it'll do an assembly. So it'll do a drawing of this up here, this component that has these components inside of it, and then each one of the ones on its own component page also. And then I have one that's set up that has that plus sheet metal stuff. So if there's a sheet metal part, it'll make a drawing of that also. And so you can have different templates set up that you can use for different things if you want. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to I'll just turn all those on. I'm going to right click, just on the top component, create a drawing. I want just all those things, make a new drawing using my template. If you have a template that only has a component in it, it doesn't have the assembly where we had like 3 blocks stuck together, first level is fine. If your template has an assembly page and a component page, then you need to put all levels to get the individual drawings of the components. So sometimes I'll just switch that to all levels, make sure I get everything. So I'll say OK. And it's going to go through and make drawings. So down here at the bottom, I can click through the different pages that it made one drawing for each of those components. Okay. So if I want views that aren't on here, so like on this one, I could go to projected view, click on this view, and make a new view up here, right? I can also edit these views. So whichever view is my parent on my template, so on my template, this view is with the parent. So if I double click on that view, I can change what it's seen. So I can change it to be the top. And now I can also go in and change the size of it if I want. And because all those are dependent on it, they all adjusted with it. I can tell this that, oh, maybe I want that only to be half scale or third scale. The isometric, the scale really doesn't matter. It's there just for kind of information. As I move my mouse around, you can see it highlights that view just by moving the mouse over the view. I can just click and drag that view, right? Click here, drag that, and that doesn't fit on my page. Never going to fit on the page because it's the same width as the page, almost, right? So I could make this smaller, make it fit. But I can also use this one here called break view. So things that are long that have a bunch of empty space, we can just take some of that space out. So if I do break view, now I can just pick on the view, and then I can position my first break, so kind of find out how much I want to see over here, and then how much I want to see on this side, and I can tell it how much space to leave between them. I just usually will leave that alone unless I want to adjust it. If I really need to, let me bring those closer together. I can say OK, and now just take out all of that space. If I decide I want more or less, I can just grab this line. If I drag it this way, it's going to add more space there. If I drag it this way, it's going to cut off more space. I can just adjust how much space I want to have that cut where I want it to be. So probably a little bit more than that. And kind of position the views where I want them to be. Okay. I've also got kind of this little cut there. So if I wanted to see something bigger, I can use the detail here. I can just go click on the view. And now I have to pick a center point. So it tells me what it wants. It wants me to specify the center point. So center, I can draw a little circle. Now it's going to let me place a blown up view of that. So maybe I tell it that I want this to be 4:1. So it's 4 times bigger. I can say okay. And it creates that view. So I can bring that text up. This is the thing that this area down here you guys were asking about last time. That's a good place to put details and remove sections and stuff like that. So I can bring this, move that up a little bit, stick this here. Now I have a blown up view of that corner. If I ever need to blow something up, I can just do a detail, and I can adjust the scale of that by changing it. And so if something is not the same scale as this down here, we want to make sure that view has it labeled. And for some reason, sometimes when we do this scale here doesn't update. So then just double click on it to edit, just go into here and then change the scale to be correct. The drawings part of Fusion is the part that they're working on the most. It's still the part that's kind of lagging behind. Yep.
No, I just automatically did the scale to.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Ta-da! See, I learned something. Is there an option for that somewhere up here? No. So yeah, so just double click on the title block and then just hit reset properties and it fixed it.
Oh.
See? Hit the button, see if it'll work. And so that's doing a broken view and a detail view. Pretty easy, right? Over here, what's this view right here called? What's foreshortened? I can't see the true shape of that surface. So when I drew it, this hole was an inch down from this top edge. So if I need to dimension that, I try and do that dimension here. That's not the right number, right?
No, it's not.
And one of my rules says you can't dimension hidden lines. I can't dimension over here. So I need to look at it straight that way. If I go under Create, there's one called Auxiliary View. And you can see the flow picture shows it going up at an angle. I can just come down, pick that edge, and tell it to go up this way. And say OK. You can see now it's tied in and it's going to stay lined up with my view the right way. Okay.
So foreshortened
is this one, but now this is true, what we call true shape. It's the true shape, the true size of that surface. Now I'm looking at it this way, perpendicular to the surface.
While it's also projecting against the same surface.
Yeah. So in Fusion, it gives us the entire view, and we can't turn off other lines and things. Usually, we want only the surface that's at an angle, but Fusion doesn't let us do that, so we're going to live with how it is. That for now. We're going to SolidWorks. I'll show you how to turn those other things off. Come here. We've got two views that are exactly the same. Don't really need those two, so I'm going to go and delete one of them. This one, I'm just going to change it to be the top. Okay. But I want the points on my hexagon to go up and down, not side to side. So you guys look at the screen and see where there might be something that can help me with that. Modify, yeah. So right here, there's rotate. I'm going to click rotate. I'm going to pick the view. So kind of like when we did the title block, you have to click this transform button here. Now just pick the center here, and now it'll let you rotate it. You can see that it's rotating around. And then just go straight up and down, click. And then say OK. And now it's rotated, so it's going that way. Okay. So anytime you have a view that's not the way you want it to be, just rotate it to fit the paper. And now I can go in and make a projected view from that if I want. Not two views. But that view doesn't really help me a whole lot, right? Everything's hidden. I can't really see what's going on. So that's where we can do a section view. So if I do a section view here, then I come over, I have to pick my parent view, like it's asking. And so by default, Fusion wants to letter things, A, B, C, within the whole file. But we like to do things that are within a sheet. My personal preference is every sheet starts again at A. And so I'm just going to change that to be A, capital A. And I want to go over, just kind of move my mouse over that top corner so that it turns on the tracking. Just like when we're doing a sketch, you just kind of go over the endpoint of a line, it'll turn on the tracking to help you line it up. That way it'll start that straight above it. Just click there, click straight down. And it's going to let you keep doing things. So here's how I can do that align section, right? If I needed to, I could pick that point in the center and then come out here and pick a different angle. Or I can just hit this little green check mark and say, yes, I'm done. And now I can bring out that view where I want it to be, say okay. And now I have my section view. Okay. If I want it to be a half section, I can pick the parent view, I go over the center, grab here, go to the center, go here, now say okay. Drag it over here, say okay. And why did that go the wrong way? Section, boom. Oh, I think it wants to go from the first one. Usually doesn't matter which way you go and it'll flip it. For some reason today, it's wanting to do that. So now there's my half section.
Okay, so for the half section, you click the center of the object twice.
Yeah, no, you just go down, you click to the center and go out.
Yeah,
You
you
just
use
don't-
the center twice for both lines to cut.
No, but because it's one line, so you just pick on the view, start it here, click on the center, click over here, say okay, we can place it down.
Okay, and okay, so that one you cut it through the center, and the other
So-
one you cut it at the view.
So that's how we can do that kind of doing a half section. And doing an offset section would go down, over, down, and you just click your cutting plane line where you want it to be, and it makes the cut. Okay. If I just wanted to have it here and just do a broken out section, I need to do a little bit more. So I need to do a sketch. I click on the view and do a sketch. And no. I think it's in this thing. So I do broken out section. Now I pick the view. Yeah, now I can make like a little thing here and say okay, and now it does the cut there. I was thinking a different in SolidWorks or Inventor, you have to make a sketch first and then do it. In Fusion, they fixed it so you just create your kind of spline from inside of there. If I go back out, broken out section, pick the view, and now I can just pick the points and make kind of a little squirrely line. Make it and say okay. I can just click on it and drag these endpoints, make it whatever size I want. Okay. If I just click on the outline, hit delete, it takes it away. So you can see it's not hard to make those things. There's also an option here if you want to have a perspective. If you want a 3-point perspective view thrown in instead of an isometric, we could do that too. I've never actually done that before, so I don't know. Don't do that. Just do your isometrics. So questions on adding views onto your drawing. So one other thing we want to do here is we want to usually tell where our centers of things are. So if we click on a view, there's the option down here for unmax center marks and lines, and sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. Like right now, they're not working. I don't know why. Sometimes they work, but I usually will just not do that and add them in myself. So if I do a center mark, I can put it in for individual things. Individual holes, it'll put them in. And then I can grab it, a little arrow, and extend it over, make a line there. I can also do a pattern. And now if I pick those two, then just say OK, it's automatically going to connect them. So if there's holes that I need to have show line up and I want a center line to go between them, I'm going to use the pattern tool. Over here, I just have a center line between those to let me know just by looking at this view, okay, that's a hole. It's not a square cutout or something like that. That's where I can use the center line up here. Pick here, and then you just pick the two edges, kind of two sides, and it'll make a line in the middle. That part is kind of thin. It automatically makes it stick out a little bit, but it's not long enough to have a break. So I'm just going to click on it and just drag out a little bit. And now it's got a break in the middle. Just need to be that much longer. So now I can have that center mark there. If I go here and I use the center mark and put it on here, look at that. Now I'm making a line to that view.
So that helps make the straight line that we need.
So look, later on when we get to dimensioning it, that's going to make it easier. Because we can dimension to the center marks. Okay, any questions on any of that? Yep.
You already did your model. You realize.
Yep. So if I go back to the model and turn off everything with that, and I decide, oh, I actually wanted to have another cut in here. So I make this thing, I cut it out. Put this little cut in there now. I save this. Come back to my model. I get a little warning up here saying, hey, something's changed. Click on that, and there your model's fixed. It's linked together. Your drawing is based on your model. You change your model, it fixes the drawing. So good. Any other questions?
When you're doing a center mark, occasionally on drawings, I've noticed that the center lines will extend to different views. Can you do that here?
No, don't do that.
Like, okay.
People that do that are doing it wrong.
Okay.
That is against standard. Standard says that each view is independent and you don't extend between views. Just the alignment of the views shows you that things are lined up. Some people will make center lines go through to try and show it's the same hole on both sides, but that's wrong. Don't do that. It's a good question.
Okay. Okay.
So any other questions? All right.